which I am right now, what advice would I give to them about buying their first home? Number one, I don't care who you are, buying a house is incredibly emotional. Your house is such a huge part of your life. It's a lot of money, and a lot of people have been saving up for years for this moment. So you're probably really excited to buy your first home, but the emotions really start to kick in when you walk into a home and you think, oh my gosh, I could really see myself living here for the next 5 to 10 years. I think this might be it. Then you start to like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So the more knowledge you can have before that emotional moment happens when you walk into the right house, the better off you'll be. Number one, make sure you truly understand your numbers. You need to really understand both your out-of-pocket and your monthly costs before you start scheduling showings and before this emotional moment happens. And you really need to have a full understanding of what's going to happen when you do see a home that you like. How do you submit an offer? What happens when your offer gets accepted? The more you can know about that process, the less emotions you're gonna have and the more you can focus on just getting your dream home. Number two, get a team that you really trust and work with them early on. If you are even considering buying a home next year, connect with an agent and a lender now. It might seem like it's too far out to start the process, but I swear probably 8 out of 10 of my clients end up buying a little bit sooner than they were originally planning on. Either because they ended up seeing a house that they like, or something happened with their rental, or they were just ready to be done renting. So when you have your team and you're prepared early on, you can make those moves when you want to, and you're not set into a panic if you do see the right home come up on a little sooner than you thought. And worst case scenario, you're ready sooner than you thought you would be. It's also always a good idea to meet with your lender and your agent ahead of time so that if things aren't quite right, you're not really vibing with them, you don't feel like you can totally trust your agent and your lender, you have time to find a new team. But if you wait until the moment when you need to start looking for homes to find your agent and your lender, you don't have a lot of time to make choices. We like choices. Which leads me to number 3, work with a team that you trust and no one else. At the very least, you are going to be working with this team for at least 3 to 4 months. That's a lot of time to be working with someone who you don't like. And your agent and your lender are ultimately going to be responsible for how smoothly or not smoothly your home buying process goes. Number 1, your agent is the person who's not only responsible for negotiating and submitting offers on your behalf, but they're also responsible for guiding you through the process and answering all of your questions. And trust me, you're going to have a lot of questions. So if you get someone who doesn't know what they're doing, or they're part-time, or they're a little too pushy, or maybe they're just not your cup of tea, the process is going to be a lot harder. You're not going to have full trust in your agent. You're not going to take their advice as well, and the process is just going to be harder. It could also be the reason why you miss out on your dream house if you don't get your offer accepted because of your agent. The same goes for your lender. Not all loan officers are created equal. And I say this because I was a loan officer at one time, and man, have I seen a lot of loan officers who should not be helping first-time home buyers. Choosing the right lender is a huge part of your home buying experience. Not only because your loan officer has to get your mortgage approved. If your mortgage doesn't get approved, you don't get the house. But your lender is going to need a lot of documentation and information from you. That's kind of like the most painful part of the process. And if your lender isn't organized or doesn't know what they're doing, that process can be a lot more time consuming and annoying than it already is. It's also really important to work with a lender who has experience in helping first-time home buyers, because this is your first mortgage. It's a huge financial undertaking, and you need to work with someone who can explain all of your options to you. And of course, you need to make sure that your lender is giving you a fair interest rate and not charging any kind of crazy fees. There you have it, my top 3 pieces of advice for buying your first home. Hopefully this is helpful and sets you off on the right foot. But if you'd like more information, sign up for the Homebuyer Workshop. We host them usually once a month, and you can sign up below.